work well, all that sort of stuff. So, and because I just spoke to you guys, one of my phones turned around and said, are you asking how to make banana bread? That's yummy, but no, it's not what I'm asking. So let's just get all this set up. And now you guys are going to all be wanting banana bread because I'm so helpful like that. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got here. So I've got a variety of products for textural elements. This is a Holcroft brand. You can get it from Riot stores if they still have it in stock at the moment. And it's the fine pumice gel. So it's quite coarse. And when you mix it with your paints, you can end up with some really interesting effects. And it's very cool. Love it. But it's like putting sand in your paint. Or sugar. You can put sugar in your paint or salt. It'll do the same thing. How to use the inks on the disc. Check yesterday's live. You'll see a little bit of that there. So there's that. There's a fine one and a coarse one. And putting that in your paints will cause different effects. This one is impasto medium. So those who use the stuff from Riot stores, all of this stuff, generally speaking, is thick for fluid art. But I love working with it because the colour range, it's got added impasto, it's quite thick, but that means you just need to change the way you do mixing so it works better. So you can impasto on its own to thicken up what you're doing. I have modelling paste, which I got from some cheap place at some point because it's got the yellow sticker. I don't even know where I got it, but that's another thing you can use. I've also got some other mediums. This one's iridescent, and what that does is add a shine into things. So if you can't get a metallic that you like, you can use any other colour and add iridescence, and that'll do that sort of thing. Then there's your gloss gel medium, which also adds in different effects. What else we got there? That's another gloss gel, another brand. And I try different things and I'm like, oh, I like that one, I don't like that one, blah, blah, blah. So you can buy things that are specifically for paint in order to add to them to create textural elements to get the results that you're after. You can also use things that are not designed specifically for paint. How often do I do that? Quite often, don't I? I mean, I put shampoo in my flow art, so, you know. But it works, and I love it, and it looks cool, and it's great. So I'm going to play with this one, because I've got that there to play with. So I've got what I'm testing today. I have, in the past, used polyfiller, which is it's a gap filler, and it is actually specifically for walls. So if you're doing your walls, it's not intended for art. What the heck, I've used it, I love it, it's great. But what I'm testing is plaster of Paris to see what that will do. So I'm going to be putting some of this in a bowl, putting paint in it, using it for textural elements, giving it a week or two to dry, and seeing how it holds up. Now, in the past when I've used that, it's held up really well, hasn't been a problem. Used my spray gloss, done all my finishing, added a little bit of colour and sparkle and bling, and it's been great. So will plaster of Paris do the same thing? No idea. And I won't know for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to give everything time to dry, to be well cured, and then check it all out. So with textural artwork, of course, you have to be a little bit more careful in your handling, a little bit more protection, and then when it's on the wall, you might want to dust carefully. You might want to get a vacuum that's got one of those little tiny heads that's got the brush element on it, just so you don't damage your art. So in general, you want to be careful with your art anyway, but if it's got textural pieces, just a little bit more careful with it. So just side notes, stuff and things. But with all of these that are built specifically for art, generally speaking, not an issue, won't have a problem with them. With these, I know for a fact that one's fine. And I was in Bunnings and they're like, look, it's basically the same stuff. I'm like, all right, let's give it a test. So here we are. Here we are, let's do things. Seven things, la, 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 la. Okay, so, what I think I'm going to do is, I'm only going to test these two, it's all my first two today. I think I'll do that in one colour and that in another, because then it'll be easier for me to check. And as I say, I've used this before, I know how it works. I might do a couple of colours with this one actually. Yes, throw colours at me. Let's have a play. What colours shall I do today? How shall I mix? What shall I do? Kind of feel like I'm cooking because I've got my powder, and a flour, and I've got my bowls, I've got my mixing bowls. So let's do things. What colours shall I play with today, so that I can track it a little bit easier? I'll be doing separate colours, make sure I don't mix them up, because once I mix them up, I will be confused. Now I need something to open this one up with. I've got a couple of sticks here that I can use for mixing. I have got, I need my palette knives, because that's how I'll be applying it. Just grab out a range of those. Where are we? That one's good. That's good. Yep, that's a good range. Okay, so I'm going to be applying it with the palette knives. Tree Colour Autumn, Penny Loafer. Good suggestion. I should check the metallics. I didn't even think of that. Warm yellow and teal. Okay. Penny Loafer, where are you? It should be around here. Yeah, there it is. That is a good idea. Let's play with metallics. So warm yellow. I've got a yellow there. Penny Loafer. I think that'll be interesting. Teal. What have I got here? Let's bring you guys over. Teal. I have tropical teal. I have turquoise. Now none of these need to match. This is just testing. I'm just having a bit of a test. But I still would like them to be. Ooh, I think I'm doing that one. What's that one? Turquoise. Let's do turquoise. I think I like that one. Dee. La. Okay, I have 3 colours. Oh, now I'm confused, because I'm like, I don't even know how this works in the polyfiller. I'm gonna have to do 2 metallics. I need to get out another metallic. That was great, thanks. Oh goodness gracious. Let's do Magnolia, because it's so freaking pretty. Such a pretty colour. I do love this colour. It is awesome. Okay, do I have 4 bowls? Yes, I have 4 bowls. I have 4 paints. I have tests. Let's do things. So let's do the warm yellow and the penny loafer in one, and the teal and the magnolia in the other. Let's move that out of the way. So what kind of paints can you use for this? The paints that you have. That's the type of paints you should use. The ones that you have available to you. Because, you know, just test. Just try something. So I'm not making big amounts today. I'm not going crazy with things because I don't know how these elements are going to work. I want them to do good things. I want to make sure I'm happy with it before I go ahead and scale up. You guys have seen me scale up in the past. You know that I do quite a few things where I will take something and I'll be like, let me just check that out, blah, blah, blah. So testing today, let's have a look. So how thick do I want this to be is really up to me. Okay, I'm going back to my recipe analogy. So if you were making cookies, chocolate chip cookies, you might do it exactly per the recipe that you find and make it exactly exact. But then you might go, well, next time I want it a little bit different. I would like my cookies to be more soft and gooey inside, so they need a little bit moisture in them. Or I would like them to be a little bit more harder and chewy, so they need to have this. Or I would like them to have more chopped chips, or I want them to have raisins, or whatever the heck. So you might turn around and adjust. Oh, apron. You might turn around and adjust whatever you're doing. So very much with this, it's test and measure as well. And as I say, I'm going to give it 2 weeks to dry before I go ahead. My apron is so full of paint. It's well used. So, you know, you check something out, you give it a try, see if you like it, give it time to dry off, and then once you know whether or not it's working for you, then you can adjust and scale up. So, yes, stuff and things. Okay, so I've got there so far, I have got the one that I know works, which is the polyfiller, which is just, you're meant to use it on your walls. And as I say, I use things in all sorts of ways that they really shouldn't be. So I am going to start with the warm yellow and the penny loafer in here and mix that up and see how we go. See if I like what's happening, see if it's working for me. Start with putting a bit of the paint in. Now I know roughly the thickness that I'm after because I have done this before. So with my mixing, I'll be using water to help it be more fluid in that one because it's straight from the paint tin. This is already mixed. It has dimethicone and everything in it. So I'll be doing this one possibly without water because it's already more liquid. All right, let's see what I'm doing. So as I'm mixing it up, it's very dry. It's taking the colour in. Hi guys, welcome along. We're having play today. Just testing things out, seeing what I reckon, see if I like what this will do. Now I've ended up very dry paste. I am definitely adding water. My biggest thing I want is that the colour doesn't get too faded out by the powder, because the powder is white based, and I don't know how that's going to work with the metallics, so we will find that out. So far it's looking good, but I still definitely want textural elements. So there's a few things I'm aiming for. Let's just bring it down a little bit. A few things I'm aiming for, don't quite know what's going to be best, and as I say, I'm going to give it all a couple of weeks to dry and then check it anyway, because after a couple of weeks it may turn around and come back with, because the other thing with doing something like with the metallics, I might put it all on and then sit there and go, okay, I want this to be more shiny, so I could add paint onto it again, or break into it a little bit and get it to have more elements that are showing through, perhaps, or brush some powder over it, some mica powders or metallic powders, or I could use ink, or lots of options. So, okay, it's definitely faded out the metallic elements, like you can see there on the stick it's still shiny, and where I put it in, but it's still there, it's just not as bright. So that's going to be interesting to see how that dries. Curious. Good experiment. All right. Mix up the yellow, and I know roughly that's about the thickness that I want it to be, and again I won't really know until I put it on something and see what that does. We need a little bit more of this one, and it is quite thick in here still, so oops, it's definitely thickened up. I need to give that a check, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have enough paint. From Winnipeg, hi Celestine, and add a bit of water. So my paints in my bottles I mixed up last year and then put them down for that Christmas break that I had, which ended up being a good amount of time. So overall they've been sitting in the bottles for 2 months and I haven't touched them, and they still work fine. I've had paints that I've mixed up in bottles and let sit for much longer than that, and they've been good. Okay. I want this thick because I want to be able to do things with it. Yeah, I'm happy with both of those. Okay, so that is the polyfiller. Let's get out the plaster of Paris and see what that does. Let's try the next thing. What's that going to happen? I need scissors, hang on. And I have no idea how this is going to work. I'm assuming it's going to be similar, and we shall find out. Alright, I didn't know. This actually has a use-by date. How can a powder have a use-by date when it's not even going in food? But, you know, okay, sure, let's run with that. Alright, some in each. Okay, so far, definitely looks very similar. Definitely the same sort of consistency, same sort of elements. So I should be able to expect the same type of thing and the same type of result as what I've got in the other one. Doesn't necessarily mean I will, but I should be able to. Setting my expectations. My expectations for today are I'm testing something and I don't know how it's going to work. So that's all good. So as I say, I've got plans I'm doing wings again. I'm doing dream catchers again. I'm getting back into dream catchers. I've been playing a lot with the ink. My hands are actually a bit funny from the powder. And that has dried a bit. If I can't get that open in a moment, I will swap what I'm using. I do find, because I'm in Queensland and it gets rather warm, especially over summer, things do dry out and it can be a little tricky. There we go. Can be a little tricky sometimes going. Yeah, we just got a dry seal around the lid. I shall remove that. All good. To be expected when you're in a hotter climate. But, look at the magnolia. Gosh, I love this one. It is so pretty. Such a pretty colour. It's gorgeous. All right. So we need some of this into there. And this is runnier than what the penny loafer was. So I'm not going to need quite as much, I think. But I still want the colour to come through. And I will be adding water again. That'll do. Let's see what that does. Let's see what this does. Let's try that. So if you're doing tests like this and you don't have a project to work on, you can do this sort of thing with a lot less paint and a lot smaller amount, so that you don't end up with having wastage. But again, like with paints for paint pouring, you can cover it up and keep it for a while. So with these, I'd probably use Glad wrap or cling wrap or something and just cover the bowl, keep it well sealed, and that would just keep it for a while. I don't know how long. I haven't really used the plaster of Paris before, so it may or may not work. I don't know. But that's a thought. So where you can, you're probably better off with this sort of thing, making the right amount for the project that you're working on, just to be on the safe side. And you know what? I've definitely mixed too much, so I'm going to be working on the big project today as well. Yay! You guys will see things in action. The last time I did one of these, I actually did it just with a time lapse, so that all this mixing and stuff didn't take up quite as much time in the video. But I've also done this with the peacock. I don't know if you guys remember the peacock that I did with Textural Elements, where I did a swipe on the neck first and then turned around and made it textural. But it was this what I'm doing here, but with the gyprock. So my bigger question is going to be, how quickly does everything set? Because I need a certain amount of time to put things down to make sure I can manipulate them still and make them into what I'm trying to do. So that's going to be the challenge. Dee, ba, ba, ba. It's been a while since you've caught one of my lives. Yeah, I'm doing them sporadically at the moment. So I did one yesterday, I did one last week. I'm not in a regular rhythm with them just yet. And before that, it was before Christmas. So yes, it's been a while since I've done them. All right, we've definitely had the tones in that change. You can see there the darker colour on the stick of what the paint was and the lighter colour because of the white, which is fine. It's just different. And I find this interesting. That's more of a paste and that's really more chunky. So I think a little bit more water in there. I don't mind how chunky that is actually. I quite like it. But I get things similar to each other. That's better. And because I'm using here plaster of Paris and there gyprock, I do expect them to behave slightly differently, but we will find out. Okay, this is good, this is good, this is good, get rid of that. This is good, get rid of that. Grab out my, this is good, this is good. Do I want this more liquid? No, I don't. I'm happy with that. That's good. How's this one going? Yep, this is good. Everything's good. It's all good. Look at that. All right, pop them over. Now, I have a bunch of palette knives that I'm going to be using, and I have a variety of options of how to use them, whatever. So first things first, very first things first is mini test. So let's pull this in and do a little test on that, which means I'm going to want smaller tips so that I can manipulate this more easily. I might need another one. Hang on. Let me have a quick look at my other palette knives, see if I've got another small one in there. I might do. What's that one? Oh, that's thin. That's good. Ah, and that's okay. And that one. Good. All right. A couple more options. I've got, this is an old plastic one, and obviously I have used this before because it's covered with a textural element on it. I didn't rinse it off very well when I finished doing it with that one, but that's okay. Okay. Now, can you do this sort of thing over a paint pot? Yes, you absolutely can. You can do this sort of thing over any kind of painting. You could even do it over a canvas that you've previously bought, and you're just like, the canvas isn't pretty enough, I want to do something on it. How well will it stick may be a different story depending on how it's been treated. So, let's start here with a little bit of this. Let's do, okay, let's go this way. So I know I'm doing wings on my other things, but for here, oh, I like that. I like that. That's cool. All right. No, okay. That's a good start, and I'm feeling confident. So I've put something on there, and I feel good about it. It's not very exciting yet. It's just a little bit, just a little element, and it makes me feel happy. So now that I've got that on there, now I'm going to bring in the other colours and do more with it. So I want it to be like a leaf. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I also do want it to run off the side because I want this to have texture all over the place. A bit more, bit more. Nice, nice, nice. I'm happy with that. That is working beautifully. So good. All right, back to the brown. And you can change the motion of your hand as you go. You can do it very defined and very accurate. You can do it very loose. Really up to you how you want your pieces to be. So, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. That is so fabulous. Oh, so good. So good. So, little textural pieces. Just a little leaf on there. Just a little bit of an element. You know what? I'm going to get out the ink work I made yesterday and put something on there. Hold on. So I've got, because then I can keep everything very separate too, because those two are the plus the polyfiller, and those colours work with that. I'm happy with that. That's great. I can do more with that later. I can also do more with it right now. Right now, I can put some more on there if I want to, and I'm going to because I can. So add a little bit more element down the side, and a little bit more of, oh, this is great. It's just adding, oh, so nice. And then this sort of mark was looking amazing. So just little leaves. As I said before, you can do trees, you can do leaves, you can do all sorts of things, or you can just do it just as a general. This is just texture. I like this. I like what it's doing. I will see how it dries. It should be good. It should work well. We'll find out. Let's put that over there for a moment. Now I'm going to do the other two colours on this one so that I've got a little bit of separation in my colours as I'm doing it. Of texture in paintings. Look, it's really is personal preference, but you know what? I always talk about this. Having texture or not in your paintings, especially in fluid art, because the aim of fluid art really is to have things move well. So if you're going to be doing it in fluid art, you may not want textural elements because you're trying to make it really smooth. But as you guys know, I do a lot of textural elements in my fluid art because that's what I like. And as I constantly talk about, I taped a banana to a wall and sold it for $120,000. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to make something exactly the same as anybody else. You can do it different style, and as long as you're enjoying it, and there will always be somebody out there who will also like what you're doing. So don't get too caught up in, oh, it has to be blah blah blah. Just play. Just do what you're enjoying. That's interesting. That's interesting. Grab this one. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Ah, yeah. Okay. So these are very much my tests. I've got a background that I'm playing with, and I'm just checking out. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love it. So that's awesome. That is looking amazing. I really, really want to put something shiny on there. So I'm going to. I'm getting out my powders and putting a little bit of that on there because I love what's going on here, and I think that'll be awesome. So I'm being quite heavy-handed because I'm expecting that once I lift it, it'll fall off fairly easily. No, it's stuck fairly well. Okay, all good. It's stuck very well. Okay, we have a lot of powder on that one. All good. Test, play, measure. Figure out what you do and don't like. And it's good to test on a variety of things. So I've got a few surfaces that I've played with today. Yesterday I was playing with a heap of surfaces. Some things worked really well, some things did not work very well at all and made me sad. But you know what? It's okay. Learning pieces. There's always going to be pieces. And sometimes when you're just doing something and learning, you can have an absolute breakthrough moment and just go, oh, this is what I really want to do now. So, you know, don't get too caught up. Just try things. See what happens. I can't get this one open. I really want some of this metallic gold on there. And again, it's been so things have dried. See if I can get this open. And if I can, I will. Make use of it. And, come on. Oh, it's really stuck. Now, see if I can get out another one that I've got. Hopefully I have another one. I'm sure I will. What's that one? No, that's not. No. Oh, really? I think it's only gold at the moment that I've got here. I will try again to open it because I really want to put some on there. I'm just looking at that and going, if I flood it with a little bit of ink, that would just be fascinating. And I've been playing with inks a bit at the moment too. So, all right. Hopefully. One thing I have learned as well is be very careful when you're using something to open up a container that may be a little bit dry. I've poked myself quite severely in the past and it made me very sad. So just be gentle with yourself if you're doing something like this. Practice safety. I've currently got it down on the bench. I'm actually leaning on it on the bench straight down rather than in my hand because when I've done it in my hand, that's where I've hurt myself. So another thing with practice safety when you're doing things like this with powders, if you're doing it a lot, do wear a respirator or ventilator of some sort. Also make sure your space is well ventilated or the usual thing. So be careful. As much as art is fun, there are also definitely safety elements to it. Tap it on the edge of the table and should loosen it. Ah, too late, I've done it now. But that's also a good idea. So I just want, because I got the textures there, yes, it's doing what I thought it might. It's just flooding between it a little bit. I might keep this over here because I'll probably end up using it in a second. And move that around. Yes. So now I've got a very pretty little wing section and it's a little test. And this is just on paper. I'm just testing I'm just saying, well, is that going to work? Is it going to do what I think it would like it to do? If it does, then I can scale up. So that's tested. I'm good. I'm scaling up. This is something I've done in the past. Brisbane heat's been terrible with paint containers. Oh yeah, no, Brisbane heat is full on. It can be definitely difficult to work with. So yes, and as much as my room is air conditioned and everything downstairs, it's still tricky. So yes. All right, now I'm going to pull you back just slightly, see if I can get more of that in camera, which I have. Good, good, good. Wings. Now I can do it this way and go, wow. I'm doing it this way now. I was going to do it that way and go down, but I like that. I like that, and I think that will work. I think that'll be really pretty, actually. So this is something I did with like a watercolor effect, and I have not put any coating or anything on just yet. I have left it just as it was when I finished, and you can go ahead and do a coat of some sort before you get into next level if you want to. But here I didn't. I'm just gonna go ahead as is and do the little bits of the textures and see what happens. So it does take a little time, this sort of stuff, and quite often when I've worked with these in the past, I have had to go back through and add a little bit of water into it, so it's still malleable. I don't think I'm going to need that this time. I think I'm good, but we will see. So I very much feel like I'm cooking. I really do. Okay. Okay. And that's really solid for some reason. I don't know, because this is the plaster of Paris. I don't know if that just solidified in there or just that I needed to make it a bit more movable before I started, and possibly both things. So I definitely want it around the edges. I definitely want, oh, this is going to be great. I'm so excited. So I start in with this sort of stuff, doing a bit of a base of one of the colours, and then I'll be layering it up. Oh, I like that. So I can get a feel of the shape and make sure that I'm comfortable with the positioning of things before I start. Other things you can do with this is use chalk, which I often do, to do a bit of an outline so that you have your shape in there. But this time, this is something I have done in the past to a degree, not quite with this, with these particular items, but I have done similar. And so I'm confident and comfortable that I will be able to do this well. So you can see there, I'm making the texture come over the edge of the canvas as well. I want this to feel. I want people to look at it and just go, oh wow, this is all over. I can notice this. I want people to be very aware that this is not just flat paint. This is very much not paint pouring. This one is not fluid art, although it kind of is because the paint's like, it's textural. We'll just say it's textural. Let's just go there. And I'm feeling good. Oh, I feel good about this. This is looking amazing. I'm very happy with this for a start. Am I going to end up using all my paints? I don't know, possibly. I'm going to go close. And if there's not a lot left, I will just be scraping out the bowls and then rinsing the bowls. Do not tip anything with paint down your sink. Don't do that. It's bad for the environment. If you're going to get rid of stuff, wipe it up first, pop it in the bin, and then go ahead and rinse afterwards. Or let it soak in a tub and let all the paint elements be removed before you go ahead and rinse them. Either or. I like this. Oh, I like what's going on. Yeah, it's definitely different, isn't it? And as I say, you can do this over paint pouring if you want to. You can do this over, so good. Can do this over, like if you bought a canvas from an op shop or from a Kmart or a Walmart or wherever, you can turn around and go, oh, I want to have that canvas be more of something, and you could do something like this over it. So it doesn't have to be any particular thing, and you can lend it to lots of stuff. Oh, I'm excited. This is awesome. So when I'm doing this, when I'm not doing it as a live, I would take more time. I would be a little more careful. Here I'm being a little quick and sporadic with it, but it doesn't matter too much. It's still going to end up looking really cool. Really, really happy. Love the colours. Love what's on. Very, very curious how it's going to dry because I'm using two different products in my textural elements today. So I hope that they will go well together. I feel like they will. I feel like the products are both going to do really cool things. And my biggest thing, like, I don't know if you guys have worked with plaster of Paris much. It's been a long time for me. And my biggest thing was just, is it going to break? I don't want this to break. And I spoke about this with the guy at Bunnings when I was buying things. I was just like, is this a concern that is real? And he's like, look, it's pretty solid. They're kind of the same product. Try it out. And I was like, okay, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. This is interesting. I like what's going on. I like what's going on. All right. Do I want a bigger? No, not yet. Oh, maybe. No, definitely no. No, happy with that. So now that I've got my bases down, I'm trying to be a little more definitive in how I'm putting stuff. You can also, because now I'm going to have a little bit of blend happening, and I'm okay with that at this point, but if you don't want blend to be going on, you can kind of do a section at a time and let it dry and then come back to it later. So really up to you. And my biggest thing I do want after I get all my colours on is I want to make sure that it feels like wings. That's what I'm aiming at. Now, I may need to do quite a bit of manipulation at the end just to get all that motion in there and get it all feeling good. I'm regularly wiping off because I'm picking up the other colours now. And as much as that's okay-ish, I don't want too much because I definitely want this to be the yellow. It is the yellow. It should be the yellow. Let's have it looking yellow. So let's wipe back on a regular basis so I don't end up with too much. I'm loving this. Oh, I'm loving this. And I'm loving this. And this and this and this. This is so cool. So cool. And where should you place it? Where you think it should go. That's it. How much should you put down? The amount that you should put down. It's so variable. This is very much a, I'm not going to say emotional per se, but it's something where you are connecting with your canvas as you're going. And you are just going, how do I feel about this? Does this look good? Does it feel good? Am I feeling happy with it? Etc., etc. So, very, very optional, very do what you want, etc., etc. This is cool. This is cool. Oh, I'm having such a good time. This is awesome. So for those who know me more as a fluid artist, you wouldn't know that I do this sort of thing so much because you wouldn't have seen it too much. This might be very new to you. Yeah, the colours are working really well, especially on the base. So I chose that base colours when I made it with this in mind. And I've had the base for a very long time before I've gotten to doing this. And it's very, very, very well dried and cured. I'm very happy with how it's sitting so that I can make use of it. But it's been a while since I've had it, and I just haven't been doing this sort of textural work for a little while. So it's been there ready and waiting. I'm very curious if the penny loafer is going to come back with much metallic shine. Oops. After it's all done. Ta-da! A little bit of oops. Just mop that up. Do. Love it. Love what's going on. It's awesome. How cool, how cool. Oh, this is great. Ba 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 bum. Dee dee dee. And I don't want as much of the penny loafer in there because I feel like it would get too heavy if I have a lot of it. I just want it as like a little bit of a contrast moment, if that makes sense. Do, 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 do. I have got drips and drops going off all over the place at the moment, and that's all good. Do, 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 do. Okay, now have I mixed this too thick or too thin? I don't know yet, and I won't know until I get to my next stage. So at the moment it is going on beautifully and I'm really happy with it, but my next stage is going to be a bit more mixing it or creating the feather elements. So once I get into that, that's going to really tell me if I've got this. I feel like it's good. I feel like it's going to go well. I feel like it's a good thing. Dee-dee-dee-dee. And I'm putting more pink on top because it's kind of gone underneath now. I used it as a bit of a base and it's kind of hidden. So I'll put more on top so it can come out and be more noticeable. And again, I don't have to have everything covered as I go because the base is the flat base has got the watercolour effect going on it. So that means I've got a little more freedom. And if there's a few gaps here and there, it doesn't matter because the other colour's in there. So it won't have too much impact, because sometimes you want a painting to be where you have it completely covered, and if you're looking at a section where there isn't paint, you are concerned. Whereas here, if there isn't paint, it's not too much of a drama because there's the colours underneath, so it's okay. All right. I feel like this is going very nice. Very, very nice. Very lovely. Oh goodness. I'm just about ready. Just about ready to do my next thing. The other thing I am going to do after it's all done is do a little bit of a tidy up around the edge, because otherwise we've got just a bit too much going on at the back there, but that's okay. I'll get to that. It's all good. This is good, this is good, this is good. Do 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 do. Ba 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 bum. Yeah, so my plan is very much to do this over watercolour bases, because I've done it in the past and I like it. But again, yeah, you can do it over flow art. You could do it on a raw canvas. You don't necessarily have to have anything on the canvas. You could draw something on the canvas first, like do a little, some sort of dream catcher or something if you wanted to. All sorts of options. All sorts of options. I feel like I'm decorating a cake. It does have that, doesn't it? All right. I'm almost ready. I feel like I need a little more in here. I'm just looking at it and going, how textural do I want this to be? How many elements do I want to have showing through? And it's once I start moving it all around, it's all going to change a little bit anyway. Yeah, it's definitely has the feel of cake decorating. This is good. So yeah, I was just sitting here going, I'm going to do this. How about I share it with everybody? So that's all. Just came from that. And I've used up almost all the paints, so I'm happy with that. All right. The other thing I've noticed as I'm going is everything is drying a little bit, which is to be expected and natural, of course. But as it's drying, it's meaning that everything is thickening up a little bit. So it started kind of a little bit more loose and now it's getting thicker. And I am noticing that as I go. All right, let's give this a shot. So I'm trying to, oh, that's actually dried a heck of a lot. That's interesting. And I don't know what it is that's dried. Whether it's the, I think it's the plaster of Paris. I think it's the plaster of Paris. So if that's the case, I probably won't work with that too much in the future. Yeah, it's feeling a little tricky to move. The maneuverability isn't as much as I would have liked. Loving what it's though. Okay. Yeah, it's the plaster of Paris. Well, there you go. All right. Get some motion happening in through here. When I've worked in the past with the polyfiller, it hasn't done this. This is kind of a little too involved in itself. if that makes sense. Don't quite know how to explain it, but anyway, I'm happy with that. It's going well. It's a little, I have to work a little faster than what I've done in the past, and that's okay, but good to note. And this is why I'm testing. This is why you go, well, let's find out how that works. All right, I don't think I'm going to be using the plastic again. I think I definitely prefer the polyfiller. Good, good, good. Good knowledge. I like this. I like what's happening. Because normally when I've done this in the past, I definitely have taken a little more time as I've gone through it. And I feel like I'm a little rushed, which is okay. It's still going to look great. I'm still going to be happy with it. But I'm feeling a little, just a touch pressured. A touch. Yeah, that's okay. This is good. This is good. Oh, pretty. Heck, it's pretty. Heck, it's pretty. All right, let's get the wings happening on this side. The little motions to get the feathers in there. And each section is definitely looking slightly different. I think I needed more pink over this side, but that's okay. Test and measure. See what you like. See what works for you. And I'm finding the pop stick is the best thing to be working with for this little feathering effect. I have another element that a palette knife that I've used before, which is that one, and it's just slightly thicker. So I feel like that wouldn't quite work for today. I feel like that would be a little wrong. Yeah, that's it. That's looking good. That's looking good. And dee dee. Ba 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 ba. And I can feel it as I'm working through it. It really is a little tough to pull the pop stick through. So, yep. I'm glad I've experimented. I have learned something while I've been here doing my testing. And that's good. All right. Now, I want a bit more pinks back through here. I love it though. Like, honestly, it looks so cool. It is gorgeous. I love what's going on. I love how the colours are working. I'm loving the final effect. I'm really enjoying adding these little bits of highlight. I love the texture. It's just cool. And I feel like I am going to get some metallic shine through. I feel like it is going to work. I won't know until it dries properly and I put some gloss spray over it, but I feel like it's going to be good. I'm encouraged. Speed might be the thing. Yeah, being a bit faster, maybe making them a little more liquid or adding liquid to them as you go might be another thing. I want a little bit darker in here. And this is where you can sit down and just go, I want a little bit more of this or a little bit less of that. But you can't work too much into it because if you do, you will end up with mud. This is very definitely a careful not to overwork what you're playing with. And this is so thick already. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but it's just very, very noticeably not as easy to maneuver with. What was the blue? Yep, the blue was the plaster of Paris. Okay, good, good, good. For you in your part of the world and your environment, it may work for you. It may be okay. For me, not so much. Brisbane's warm, even though I've got the air on. I believe it's 30 degrees or a bit higher today. So it's just having a little bit of a struggle. That's okay. Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy. Oh, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. This is great. All right. Yeah, speed is of the essence. Do your tests first. And figure out how you want it to be. I'm chuffed. I am very excited. I'm rather thrilled. This is fabulous. So I'm adding back on just a little bit of colour here and there. But I don't want the colour to be so standout. So I am still trying to blend as I go. I don't want distinct colour, but I also don't want mud. So it's a fine line and I feel like I've reached it. I feel like if I were to play with this much more at the minute, I would end up with doing something a disservice, and more than anything else, I would be sad and that's the thing I don't want to be. So let's slow down, let's get my edges better, and let's stop with the play. Okay, let's lift this up. Oh gosh, it's heavy now. Let's not lift it up, let's leave it there. I definitely do want this over it. Now, how am I going to add it this time? I'll drip a little. Okay, let's get a straw. I want that to do more. Actually, let's try water spray. Is that a mistake? Not really a mistake, but it's not moving. Oh, that's better. That's better. Where is my straw? Let me get a straw. Let me see if that can help. It's not moving as much as I would like. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. That was a good test. Not quite doing what I want. Powders. We'll go with powders. It just needs more shine. That's all. And I feel like gold is the thing. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely gold is the thing. Yes, much better. Much better. Bit over this side. Do 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 do. Ba ba bum. Ba 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 bum. Da 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 da. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm curious how it's going to dry. I feel like the drying will do different things. I'm going to put a little more gold over this side, but this time spray first and then put the ink on and then blow it out. See what that does. Ooh, fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. That did more. I'm doing that over this side now. Let's put on that and a couple of drips, big drips. So it's kind of leaving a bit of that gold as it goes. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Dee. So I'm looking at this now and I'm going, I need some more depth to be shown. So once it's dried, I think I'll be going along and doing a little flood just along each of those lines so that I've got some more character and it's noticeable as to what's going on, because I feel like it's blended a little too much of that background, but I love it. I think it's awesome. I'm going to bring you guys over for a little flyover. Come and have a look. Let's see what we've done. Boo boo boo. Ba 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 ba. 3D plaster of Paris to make the waves in an ocean. Yeah, that would be cool. I might have to play with the plaster of Paris a bit more. It may just be the heat of the day today, but I'm really, really happy with how this has come together. I think it's amazing. Do 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 do. Ba 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 bum. Love it, love it, love it. How cool. How cool. So awesome. Ba 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 bum. Alright, so so my next thing is I'm going to do some quick watercolor on a couple of bases because this is something I'm planning on doing more of. So I might keep you guys here while I do that and you can have a little look at that as well. Let's bring this and move over here. So this is one of the type of bases I've done before, and it really is just I'm putting on colour and I'm playing with it and I'm letting it interact. I'm not aiming for any particular thing. It is just a case of here's colour on the canvas. So I'm doing that again. Let me move that out of the way. And I'm going to use one of my littles because these are the ones that I'm definitely doing I'm draping a wing over the top of the canvas. So there, this is going to be a single. Let's have a little play. Let's add a little bit of something onto here. Dee 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 dee. Ba ba bum. I think I'll do just 2 colours. I'll do teal, because that's really, really pretty, and purple. What have I got? What have I got? Oh, da-da-da-dum, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Oh, now I want to do navy as well. Okay, Harbour Night, purple sequins, and what's that one? I think that's Marina. Let's do these 3. Let's see what these do. So I'm just going to be putting a little bit of paint on here with a brush, and then adding a bit of water, and that's it. I'm just going to let it move itself. So it's going to be very quick. I'm not going to be doing too much with it, but I'm like, let's just show you one of the ways that you can do things. And you may or may not like this, or you may or may not want to give it a go. It's definitely not fluid art. That's just water. I just need a bit more in here. It's definitely not paint pouring, but it is fluid art. So. Need some brushes. I know, how weird. I've actually got brushes in the first place, and then I'm about to use them. Oh, there's another palette knife. Good. I just need some rough. That one's too big. I'll put that one back. Just some littlies. Okay. Let's have a plate. So I've got Harbour Night for my navy. And the thing with this as well is drying time as well. So with doing these kind of effects, if you want a particular colour in a particular place, you must. You don't have a choice in it. Place it and then walk away and give it, a few hours to a day to dry, depending on where you are in the world, before you put your next one on. And sometimes if you put your next one on too early, it'll just blend into the last one, and you won't have the distinction. So if you're after a bit of contrast and distinction, you should give it time between each layer. If you are after blending, then you should put them on and let them talk to each other. So up to the effect that you're wanting to achieve. Da-da-dee-da-dum. And this is funny, the little blobs of the comparison, everything that's fallen down on the paper is pretty much already hard. I'm just looking at it and going, and that one's pretty solid. So yeah, I think the plaster of Paris definitely hardens faster. I may revisit it, but I'm reasonably confident. Like, yeah, that's still very manoeuvrable. That's okay. That's really not. Maybe I just need to add more water as I'm going next time. That's okay. Stuff and things. All right, so I've just got a blank canvas there, and I am literally just going to put water on there to start, and then a bit of paint into the water. You can also mix it not on the canvas. It's probably the better way to do it, depending on how confident you feel. And then once you've got it ready to go, then pop it on your canvas and spray it out. So I'm just putting it straight on the canvas because I'm comfortable with that. But if you aren't, don't do that. Do it separately. And I've accidentally got a bit of brown on there. What the heck from? From my hand. Okay. I shall make that less, and I'll put the navy on there. So I've got a few points for me to put my colours. Too much navy on that one, but that's okay because I want some on this one. It's funny actually, at the moment, Taman, my fiance, I like saying that, is working on a painting himself, and he works in oils, and instead of using a, or as well I should say, because he normally does use a palette, he's also been using the tablecloth. Because I had a plastic tablecloth down, and he's just gone like, I want to mix this right here. So it's happened, and I'm just like, oh, that's fine. Doesn't matter. Mix it where you want. It's one of those plastic tablecloths that gets thrown out, so it really, really, really doesn't matter at all. But it's just amusing. Okay, so we've got a little bit of that and a little bit of that, and I need my third brush, which I have put there. And I'm going to And as I say, you probably should use a palette or a mixing bowl or something other than your canvas. But this base, so because it's my base, it's not going to be my final product, I'm not too worried. I'm comfortable with mixing it on the canvas itself and then making it spread. For me, that works. For you, it doesn't work. Mix separately and then bring it on. Da-da-da. And I need some more of my metallic purple. Sequin something? Sequin lilac? What is it? Purple sequin. Mix that. Okay. So I want these colours to blend into each other a little bit. I want them to talk to each other. I want a bit of interaction. I'm not wanting it to be too individual. If I was wanting it individual, I would do this much more separate. I would not do it all at the same time. So I want blends happening. I want that going on. I've made some of these in the past where it literally takes me a week to do the base because I want the bases to be very distinct. So it's really up to you how you want it to be. Okay, I have some colour. I am ready to make things happen. So I'm using the squirt gun as my brush at the moment. I'm using it to spread the colours out. I'm using it to get the colours to move. And as I have the colours touch each other, they draw into each other. Like you can see that one especially. The light blue has taken over the navy in that case. I want it to go off the edge. I'm just literally directing it around with my water gun. I want them to talk to each other a bit more. I want that one off the edge. Oh, nice. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And if it floods too quickly or too much, your option is to get a tissue and just drag it out a little bit. Take away a little bit of the colour so it's not doing as much if you are feeling like it's overtaking things. You can also use that to help direct the colours to move. So there, I've now got the purple flooding in, this is flooding in. Because I've taken it off that edge, it's just all moving down in that direction. And you can also use a brush, use a straw, of course. So some of the things you do with paint pouring, you can retake into other things. Beautiful, beautiful. I am happy. Oh, this is going to be so pretty. This is going to be such a great base. Beautiful. Oh, nice, 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 nice. Now I want a bit more colour back in, so I'm just bringing in that brush because I like a little bit of darker tone up in that corner as a contrast and a point of balance. And I'm going to take a little bit out of there to bring that over. Dee. And you can, if you want to, gesso before you start doing this sort of stuff, so you've got a smoother base. Really up to you. I like, as we know, texture, so I don't worry too much about gesso because I quite like it having different elements in it. That'll do there, that'll do there. I need a little contrast point here. I want a little bit more of the purple back in there. And a tiny bit of water because I don't want it to now start moving too much. So I've got to be careful how I'm putting things on so it doesn't end up going crazy. I like this. I like this. I'm happy with this. Bring this off the edge. And that's making all of that travel again. Bring it off that edge, make it travel. Happy! My goodness me, that's gorgeous. So that's now going to be a base for a set of wings. So today I've been playing and testing out methods that I've used before, testing out products that I've used before and products I haven't, testing out colours, and loving what I've got. So I'm going to bring you guys over again, have a quick look at that, and that's all we're playing with today. But that there, roughly, I mean, I do also add inks and other things to them, but that's roughly how I make the kind of bases that I end up using for my angel wings. So I'm going to have a heap of these that I'm working on. A heap. A select amount. I think it's like 8 or 10. And they'll end up being little angels. Little travel angels you can take with you. Oh, yeah! No, we're not doing that. All right, guys. I will be back soon, I'm sure. I won't be doing anything else with the live this week. Probably not. Should be next week. Don't know when, but very sporadic at the moment, just as I'm doing things, sharing them with you, and see how I go. So, if you guys want to have a look at cheat sheets and everything, they've had, I've done a little bit of a price discount on some of them. So if you haven't had cheat sheets before, go and have a look. You may want them. They're going to be also in the course. I've got worksheets coming up, drip tests, a type of paints, all sorts of things. Stuff is coming. Have a good afternoon, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.